o'clock live, and I'm your host, the Whoop Man Dan. I'm gonna be screaming out some songs, playing some cool stuff for you tonight. I got Ron Morehead gonna be here from an old lecture talking about Bigfoot vocals, talking about Bigfoot, the way Bigfoot talks, Bigfoot's voice, Bigfoot's speech. It's gonna be interesting. I think, I didn't watch it first. I'm gonna enjoy it with whoever shows up. Give me the usual 2 minutes to get everything set up over here. And hopefully, oh my God, hopefully I'll remember to turn the volume down on the monitor one day. Oh my God, okay, I got the volume turned down on the monitor. It's funny, when I start a live stream, it's like, in my time, probably going to be 30 seconds before it actually starts. Does that look good for a good monitor view? I want it a little bit bigger than that. I want to be able to hear it really good. That look good? So let's get this show started with my friend Pat McCormick doing the thing for 13 o'clock live. This is Risk, Thrill, Kill. And give people a chance to come on in. Pull up a chair. And to the people who go on the same time I did tonight, just taunt me. Oh, fuck you. Fuck you very much. Nah, Mox. Cinnamon makes Roy look like one of the good guys. And that's Pat McCormick doing the theme for 13 o'clock live, Risk, Thrill, Kill. Be sure to check out his channel. You'll find that link in the chat. I appreciate everybody who's joining me tonight and a few people who will come in later on. I want to give a special shout out to the cocksuckers who went on the same time I did tonight. I really appreciate that. And by the way, my dog has more subscribers than you. So you can suck a big one. You know who you are. I'm not going to say no names because I don't do that here. I'm not here to insult. I'm here to have fun. I'm here to show a good show. I'm here to bring you all the facts. And the facts tonight is Ron Morehead. I'm going to bring up Ron Morehead. Give me 1 second to get through the commercials and the bull. And I'm going to bring up Ron Morehead. And Ron Morehead's going to be an author, an activist, producer of the Sierra Sounds famous videos. On YouTube, you can find him on YouTube. He was the first one, I think, to record the legendary Sasquatch. So I'm going to turn it over to Ron. We're going to do a really short, about 45-minute lecture by the great Ron Morehead tonight. And after that, I'm going to show some videos by the cool people in chat. We're going to talk about Bigfoot, and I'm actually going to show some Bigfoot. Michigan Rob, you know you want to stick around for that. Sit back and enjoy this YouTube special.
Welcome back for those of you who are here from the morning session, and I think I see a few new faces this afternoon, so thank you so much for joining us for our opening day of Sasquatch Revealed. Since I do see a few new faces, I'll give you my Lacey Museum spiel. If you haven't been to the museum yet, you should take a look. We have exhibits there as well as exhibits here, so make sure you take a look both places. Plus, over there's crafts and door prizes and really terrific tours by our educator, Marissa Merkel. Also, if you missed some of the other talks or can't make them all today, they're going to be on YouTube later, so you'll be able to see them. We have all kinds of material over here about upcoming events for the museum, and if anyone would like to give a donation to support this wonderful free programming that we can offer you because of the generosity of the guys who came here to speak on this subject, we would really appreciate it. With that, I will introduce our speaker, Ron Morehead. Author and adventurous Ron Morehead, producer of the Sierra Sounds, has been known for decades for his worldwide research into the Bigfoot Sasquatch phenomenon. The Sierra Sounds are one of the few Bigfoot recordings that have been scientifically studied, time-tested, and accredited as genuine. Ron has documented his personal interactions with these giant beings and produced his story on a CD and also in a book, Voices in the Wilderness. He most recently released The Quantum Bigfoot in an attempt to bring the science and spirituality of Bigfoot and Sasquatch together. Please join me in welcoming Ron Morehead.
Seen a Bigfoot. How many here think they've heard of Bigfoot? Okay. How many here are not going to raise your hand no matter what I say? Well, I've experienced them years ago and quite a few since then, but I'll be getting into my program here, and I appreciate if you just ask the questions after it's over with, because a lot of the questions will be answered during the program. And just try to remember what you're asking. But as recorded in a very remote wilderness camp, that's the way we got in with horses and mules. Aaron, can you turn the laptop around so I can see the next slide? Thank you so much. Yeah, I can see that. You got any binoculars? That's good, thank you. Anyway, it's 8 miles into the wilderness, and nobody's fooling us. We know that, but you'll see what we went through. But that's our barrels. We took those in by mules, stove in by mules to reassembled it, and we had a little camp way back in the middle of nowhere, a tiny camp. We're not looking for Bigfoot. We just, that's the shelter we went to. And that's the camp, the way it looked in 1971. And y'all hear me? Yeah. Okay, good. I don't have to. It's 8 miles, like I say, one way into this camp. These sounds we recorded not just once, but several times over a few years. So we took a reporter in there, and he started documenting things, looking for a hoax. Actually, this is my buddy. We went in, and we found a lot of strange things up there besides just the Bigfoot. But that's all we'll talk about today. I'll be playing some of these sounds for you. These are actual sounds that... Wait a minute. That's what we were hearing up there. That's been scientifically studied by the University of Wyoming, and it's also been studied by cryptolinguists, which I'll talk about them later. But there's quite a few people thought this was just regular sounds being played backwards or human sounds being manipulated, but that's been shown to not be true. They're actual, plus we were getting glimpses of them up there, where if you don't see what made the sound, you really don't know for sure what made the sound. But what we do know, they left some big footprints up there, and it was quite an adventure. That's Al Berry. He's the investigative reporter that we took in 1972. Unbeknownst to us, he was actually thinking he was going to find out who was hoaxing us, because he couldn't believe the story. Multiple encounters, that this doesn't happen hardly ever. You're lucky to get a glimpse of one of these things, and hardly anybody ever has the long-term connection with these things like we were having. And credible evidence can often be ignored. Credible evidence can often be ignored if it doesn't fall within certain paradigms. We all have our minds made up of what we think these things are. At least some of us do. I don't. But you got to get out of that a little bit and just open your mind up, because there's something out there with 2 feet, big feet, huge, bigger, stronger, faster, stealthy, everything more than what we are. They can find us, but we can't find them. They're the hide-and-go-seek champions of the world. That's Al Berry again. This is a whistle exchange that you hear. And
You got a show is brought to you by our sponsors. Be sure to give the sponsors a check out.
I feel like a billionaire. I'm talking like a billionaire. I'm talking like a billionaire. Let's go.
Oh, hell with that. Go away.
and one of us was interacting with it.
Sorry about that.
After we was getting a little bit familiar with them, we realized they wasn't going to eat us, carry us away, and we didn't shoot at them. So we were kind of getting a little comfortable. That was Warren Johnson. He's passed away now, but he was kind of the father of the group. And they've been hunting up there since 1958. This started in 1971, 72, 73, 74, and into 76, the close-up stuff. And then after that, it just kind of faded off into distant stuff, which I think it's because we had to kill a bear in camp, is Ramsighter. So anyway, let me continue. Oh, here's some sounds I'll just play for you. Some of them may be redundant, I don't know. The first one is a display, and it's just a display. This is the kind of sound we ran into the very first time in 71. This is a... that was quick. They did that quite a bit, trying to scare us off, we think. We're not sure, but or that or they was arguing with another one over the food. We're not quite sure. Didn't see them doing that. They were just right outside the shelter. What I can't describe to you is how powerful these sounds are. They're just, I can't capture that on our cassettes, which we were using in those days, on battery-operated things. But very powerful, very high amplitude, and it just jar you. This is messaging with rocks and raps the way they do. Forth. They also whoop, but they message. We think they're messaging each other with rocks and raps. We don't know for sure, but that's what the suggestion is, because you hear one over here doing that, then hear another over here rapping differently. But they do it rhythmically, so there must be a message involved. At least we think there is. Sounds, they have different intonations with them. I think their whooping sounds do the same thing. They're trying to see what your reaction is, I think, sometimes too, because we learn to not jump up and try to flashlight or anything like that, or they just quit. But this is the night I got to see one when they were making these sounds, so that was an adventurous night. But they seem to know who we are. And David over here, he said they follow him around. They follow a lot of people around. They seem like some people connect up with him and some people don't. My daughter's one of those people. She has encounters. This is two of them talking to each other. This was going right outside this shelter. We were all inside this little shelter you seen earlier, and they could be very close to us sometimes, but I never got to see them when we were inside the shelter. The only time I got to see one was when I was outside the shelter, and they allowed me to, and that was 1974. That sound right there was in 1972. That's just one breathing. That's how close they can get. That one had asthma, we think. Don't know. So we don't know if they were trying to intimidate us, befriend us, or communicate something. This is Al Berry. He's the scientist that we took in there. He was just a newspaper reporter then, but he does have a master's degree in science, and he was always looking for the hoax, how somebody could have pulled that off up there. He never could find it, but he did write in a book and co-authored it with Ann Slade. But he became a good friend of mine afterwards, and we started talking together and going places. There's a gentleman, right back there. He's seen, we talked in Bellingham in 2005 with Lloyd Pye, and Al Berry was there at that time. He stopped talking. He passed away in 2012. Good friend. That's the book he co-authored. Anybody got that book? Golly. Oh, I do, yeah. I got one. I got two, actually. This is Dr. Curlin. He presented his report. He studied at the University of Wyoming for a year, and he came up with this right here. I don't know if this will work. Oh, it will. Anybody see that little red dot? Can anybody see that red dot besides me? Okay, thank you. That box right there is the average human range of what we talk in. all those icons outside of it are the sounds you're going to hear in a minute, and they are represented by this up here. So listen to the last part of this. It sounds very human-like, and you'll hear some. In the last part of it, you'll hear something that sounds, but you find out they can speak within the human range. A lot of reports of people over the years that say they called out my name, or they called out my dog's name. The dog wasn't there, and stuff like that happens. Hear that movie tale at the end? That movie tale was in the human range right there, and it sounded like something we could say. In fact, we had a scientist back east get hold of this. She heard that and said, "Oh, there's humans, someone playing with you or something." Well, she didn't know that we'd already had that checked out. Tapes have not been played backwards. They've not been slowed down. They've not been speeded up for any type of manipulation. That's what Dr. Curran, he's an electrical engineer, and he studied them, like I say, for a year. Also, we got another report from a doctor in Texas A&M who listened to the sounds, the GUR part of it. He corroborated what Dr. Curran said, which was made by an entity that was that big right there. And that's the book he had his report in. Anybody got that book? Oh, good, a hand. I saw a hand. No, his whole report's in that book, and is by the University of British Columbia in 1980, and they published it. I have the book too. Me and one other person here. Chris, you got that book, don't you? Yeah. He's not raising his hand. Oh, there. Well, yeah. I'd rather ask questions later, or answer questions. Yeah, thank you. This is a two-time graduate of the Language Institute. Had him vetted carefully. He's more than capable of doing what he did, which was he's cryptolinguist, and his whole military career was transcribing unknown languages. He got a hold of this in 2008, came out all the way from Missouri, where he teaches foreign languages now, even today. Interviewed me and Al Berry both to get the context of some of these sounds so he could go back and study them. He did the same thing. And he discovered a complex language within those air sounds. I'm only talking about the ones I dealt with up there. I heard someone say earlier, they're not all the same. Gene said that. They're not all the same in my opinion. I'll get into why I think that here in a few minutes too. Here's a sample. By the way, that's me, my little saw cat. That's my sagittal crest. Or, what do you call it? Elongated skull? Oh, okay. Anyway. This first one's just a display only. I may have played that earlier. The second one will be an example of language between the two. So what is it that makes language? Sound expert listen to these too. She's one of only 10 in the state of California that can do what she does, which is languages. And she said that that was a male and a female arguing, and that the female won. So, which you got to know, yeah. What is it that makes a language? The answer is a morpheme stream. That's a group of words that make a sapious sentence, like we have, like I'm hopefully doing now, like you do with each other, and these things have that. So what does it take to do that? A hyoid bone. We have that. That's what distinguishes us from other primates, the apes and the gorillas. They don't have that bone in there. These things have to have that in order to speak a language. Now, someone mentioned earlier, they have human mitochondrial DNA, which is the female side. And if they have, I'm getting ahead of myself, but this language thing is a big deal to me. These beings must have a hyoid bone to make a language, to make the, by the way, that was mentioned in 1968 by Lieberman, Philip Lieberman, and that's how long that's been around. That's our camp. That's what one would look like if it was ugly. That's how we pack things in and out. Can't see what that says. Oh, that's the Nancy Logan, who was a human sound expert that listened to these things years ago and said what she said, what I mentioned earlier. This is something new, fairly new. If you can get online, which you can. If you can get online, go to Thinker Thunker, Sierra Sounds. You can hear the full 20-minute presentation he gives. He's not a scientist, but does a pretty darn good job, I think, of looking into this. If what he says can be corroborated by a university, which I'm trying to get now, by some PhD, because you got to have somebody with a title behind their name before anybody's going to believe you. And if I can get this corroborated, what he says in this, he studied these tones in these tapes that we have. He says they can make 5 octaves in one tone, and that's inhuman. No human being that known on this earth, no animal on this earth can do that. That's what he says anyway. So I just need some help finding somebody that has credentials that can verify that or discredit it, one or the other. I'll take it off, they can discredit it. That's me again, and Lewis Johnson and Bill McDowell, my friend on the right. We were the horse people, taking supplies in and out. Lewis Johnson is Warren Johnson's brother, and they are the ones who founded that camp in 1958 and been hunting there pretty much all their life. It's a real pristine area. You get up there and you just feel like you're in heaven. It's so nice. And I'll play you a sound now, which that's me. That was in 1974, 3 years after we first encountered them. Getting pretty comfortable with them, thinking they still wasn't going to eat us. Of course, you still don't know, but they didn't. I'm here today, so I'm a testimony that they didn't eat us. They didn't carry us away. So that was me interacting with one that night, and quite an exciting night, really. We both got glimpses of them running through the trees, and they were working with us outside the shelter, which was a new thing. They usually wouldn't do anything until we got inside the shelter. But again, there was 3 of them, we believe, that night, the male, the female, and an adolescent. On the little CD that I sell with my book out there, it gives you the voice of the adolescent, and you can hear a little voice. It sounds like the mother coming down on it real strong. I think sometimes these young ones are getting bold around humans, and the adults are trying to pull them back where they're curious, and they will play with you. Somebody mentioned that earlier too. They toy with people. They'll follow you along the trail. But they are curious about children. I heard Chris mention that earlier, and I think they're just like they got nothing else to do, so eat and watch people, I guess. Having language by the human definition implies sapience. And we're Homo sapiens sapiens, supposed to be the only bipedal sapiens on this earth, right? I don't think that's right. I think there's another form of hominid out there that is sapient. I think these are one of them, but I think that may be because they have human component to them. If sapiens tribute to humans only, what could that mean in the world of Bigfootology? You like that word? Everybody like that word, Bigfootology? It's something new too. Oh yeah, here we go. I'll let everybody read that. My neck's good. I can't see it from back there. Keep your mind open, because whatever these things are, we haven't found them yet. Nobody really knows. There are no Bigfoot experts, as far as I'm concerned. An expert knows everything there is to know about a certain subject, and nobody knows everything there is to know about this subject. So, at least nobody that I know knows. I know more than most, I think. Not bragging, just... mic was outside the shelter, remoted into where we were inside the shelter. So that's why some of these sounds you're hearing our voice in the background there somewhere, but you're hearing the creature's voice, which it just happened to be really clear sounds that night. Albert recorded that. And anyway, how do we begin to understand these beings? Research what qualifies me to talk to you today. And by the way, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Al Berry, who fostered this whole study at the University of Wyoming and who got me interested in talking to people. Him and I went out talking, and then he's passed away, so I just kind of carrying the torch here. But I've been a few places looking into different things. And, there it is, yeah. That's me over there between Spock and Captain there.
Cool.
Let's see. There it is. Researching means to look at all the data. It does not dismiss unusual accounts. And I mean, you gotta look into history, you gotta look into classical science, ancient texts, quantum science, native mythology, and your own personal experience in evolution. I think we have to study on all to see where the dots might fall, what kind of a picture it gives us. I went into the Albert Osman Toba Inlet, which is up there in Canada, Alberta, and that's Peter Byrne right there. We flew up in there. I flew into Toba Inlet. Was trying to recreate Albert Osman's story. How many here know who I'm talking about when I say Albert Osman? Oh gosh, I can tell that story. I can't tell that story. It's too long. He supposedly got kidnapped by an Sasquatch and held for 6 days in a place in Toba, just carried away. So that's why I say we didn't get carried away. But John Gate Green interviewed him in 1953, I think it was, and I got that recording from John before he passed away. But this is oh, I'm going fast. Oh, this is up the Canadian operation, which Tom, who's going to talk later back there, we just talked about that at lunch. We set up these cameras on these islands up in Canada, and we was on a boat, and we stayed out on the boat during the night with thermal imaging, trying to catch a picture of something, because there have been scenes swimming between these islands. We know grizzly bear do that, but there's also been Sasquatch sightings up in there, and that's one of the things they did. This is the whole river here at the Olympics, and they've been seen down this river by people. At least it's working. A little jittery. I went down to Chiapas years ago on an expedition, a Mayan expedition, into a jungle, and I just said that because I did. And it was kind of fun, military all over the place. So I went to Bolivia, that's in researching the elongated skull. That's Brian Forster on the left there, and L.A. Missoula in the middle. And those are the elongated skulls. We set up, been down there twice, 2 different expeditions, weighing the skulls, checking them out with 2 different scientists. They both corroborate each other. They have 25 to 30% more brain area. The elongated skulls were naturally elongated. They were not cranial deformation. The Incas did that, but we think the Incas were doing the cradle boarding of their youth to mimic what we think these pre-Inca people did, which was move those megalithic structures over those mountains like you wouldn't believe till you see it. It's just ridiculous, some of the stuff that you see down there. That's Pumapuku, which I went to also. And look at the rock work up at the top up there. Look at the stones, how they fit together. There's no mortar in those stones. And down here you can see where the Spanish did some things. But here's another one right here. That boulder right there weighs well over 100 tons. This goes on for about a quarter of a mile. And these rocks were quarried from about 19 miles away. And this mountain's, 14,000 feet almost. And they put them up there and put them like that without any mortar in them whatsoever. You see that stuff? All this is doing may not relate to Bigfoot, but what it's relating to is open your minds that there has been something with advanced technology on this earth. 100%. By the way, anybody see the news the last few days where these pilots are reporting the UFOs? They're actually seeing UFOs now, and the government's letting them get away with it, which is pretty cool.
It's pretty cool.
And that's Dmitry Benoff, who, thanks to Chris, I just got his book a while ago, Making Up Hominology. And that's in Russia. That's Don Bendernego. He was on Vancouver Island, lived there. He passed away also. We're all passing away, by the way. The alternative to that is stay here. Anyway, I spoke at the Darwin Museum there, along with John and with Jeff Meldrum, and got sponsored over there by Dmitry and Igor. And this is where we went into Siberia, where they've been seeing the wild man. And they took us to a cave. That's how we got around after we left this one village, the Shore people, SHOR, supposedly descendants from Mongolia. But they took us to this cave where the Yeti or the wild man had been spotted. And we found a track and a nesting spot. But when somebody takes you to a spot like that, you can't 100% say that it wasn't a setup. So we could not say with 100% that it wasn't, that it was real. But Jeff Meldrum, Dr. Jeff Meldrum, he's a scientist who is an expert in tracks and feet. And we go 95%, but until you have witnessed it yourself and no one took you there, you don't know for sure. That's me in the Mayan ruins in the Yucatan, looking to see. I went down there and heard the Mayan language, and the Mayan language, anybody ever heard the Mayan language, it's not like Spanish at all. It's very Asian, sounds much like some of the recordings that you've been hearing. That's me at the Lovelock Caves with Joe Taylor. He's the one that I went there with. I went to South America with him too, but been to the Lovelock Caves 4 times. There's a story there where the Paiutes came where they said they were battling the red-haired giants. And this is in the book by Sarah Winnemucca. And they drove them into this cave, set fire to the cave, and then killed them as they came out. But they were cannibalistic red-haired giants. Of course, BLM denies it. All the museums will deny it. You can't see the artifacts because they've taken away the Smithsonian or someplace. So you got this right here denying that there's red-haired giants. However, unbeknownst to them, there's a picture. That's the Lovelock Cave up there, by the way. And you see that skull there, the big one? That's got double-rolled teeth. And the BLM denies, but that was taken 40 years ago when they were allowed to display that stuff. You can see the double-rolled teeth right there. Went into Nepal with Peter Byrne. Anybody ever heard of him? I'm sure a lot of people heard. He's an iconic figure. He's in his 90s, still doing well. I'm going to see him here in a couple of weeks again. And we ventured in Nepal doing the tiger hunt. That's me on an elephant. I was there for 6 days. Anybody ever seen that picture? We all know who that is, don't we? Her name's Patty. Go where the evidence leads. That's what I say. If an effective researcher doesn't selectively find reports that fit his or her ideas, does not discredit others, and keeps an open mind. I want to say that several times. Keep an open mind, because we don't know what these things really represent yet. Some people think they're just remember the Gigantopithecus? Some people think there's something celestial about them. It could be all the above, but are they flesh and blood? Absolutely, because they left tracks, they eat our food, they vocalize, and they poop, and they procreate. We've seen little ones, and the little tracks, we found a little 9-inch track along with 18-inch track in the snow up there in the Sierra Camp. However, could there be more that we need to or should try to understand about them? That's where I go with it. People say, oh, they're just flesh and blood, period. There's no period about anything. It's just flesh and blood. If you breathe and have a heartbeat, you're more than just flesh and blood. There's something else to us, and there's something else to these things too, I believe. this is classical science, researching that, and most people research using this method totally, but they want to see the proof. And Newtonian physics, and that's what we all learned in school, it's go by Newtonian physics, it depends on your five senses. It's based on the claim that reality is material or physical, measurable, and predictable. However, Newtonian physics does not tell us how all things work. And that's when you get into another science called quantum science. And that's how you tell everything is like that. Researching modern science. This is quantum physics. That's Einstein down there. It's only about a little over 100 years old, this science, and this is Edgar Mitchell, Dr. Edgar Mitchell, who says this. It takes classical and quantum sciences together to have clear perception. That's what I'm trying to tell people, is open your minds up, because it's not just classical science, Newtonian physics, it's open your mind up to what's really activates the whole universe, and that's quantum science. If you understand that, you'll find out the people that are called the woo-woo people, which I've been called that, but the new woo-woo is called quantum, because it gets into things that from the subatomic level, and get you opening your mind up a little bit of what's really going on. We don't see everything there is to see. We only see, well, I know. Did I look thirsty? This is my beloved wife, Carrie. Thank you. And this is Darwin, research in Darwin and evolution. Many human unseen attributes are not explained in Darwinism. That tells how we evolved. And that's pretty scientific. However, I don't think it's complete. It does not explain intuition, psychic phenomena, telekinesis, telepathy, deja vu. Anybody had a deja vu? Do you know what deja vu is? Yes. Okay. You know why that happens, how that happens? Because we only think time exists. In quantum science, time doesn't exist. Everything's in the now. And how do you have a dream about something all night long, and then all of a sudden, in the dream, somebody's knocking on your door, and you wake up, somebody really is knocking on your door. Clairvoyance, feelings. These things are not explained in evolution, at least in what I've been reading. So how does it happen? Researching ancient texts, did sapiens actually evolve in humans, or was it given by advanced technology? That's a theory that's out there. And ancient text tells us that aliens crossbred with humans. And I think it's been mentioned before. That would give the mitochondrial DNA, the maternal side, some human attributes. But I think over the time they've been diluted down by crossbreeding with the indigenous people and over eons, because they've been here a long time like we have. It's written that giants are part human. That makes sense. Could advanced technology have altered the DNA of a primate? These are just things you can think about. Don't know if any of this is true, but it's where I'm going with it. Here's a good quote by Tesla. It says, the day science begins to study non-physical phenomena, it will make more progress in 1 decade than all the previous centuries of his existence. Yeah, she wants me to drink some water. I better drink some water. I don't like to drink water in front of people, though. I don't know, I never did like to see that. So, we need to study quantum science, I think. And that's not above your head. Just get quantum 101 or whatever, and it just tells you how things really actually work from the subatomic level on through the universe. Bigfoot, if Bigfoot has the same mitochondrial DNA as humans, understanding how we were made from the troglodytes, the caveman, could also allow us to better understand these beings. If they are part human, we need to understand really what our potential, what we can do as humans. I don't think none of us are walking on water yet. We're not showing all the attributes that I think we have within us. We can just connect with what really is existing in us. So, could there be a hybrid species? I believe them to be a hybrid species. Of course, we could be hybrids too. Another quote from Nikola Tesla. What one man calls God, another man calls the laws of physics. Well, quantum physics and spirituality are the same. That's what my second book is about. The Quantum Bigfoot is connecting science with spirituality like these guys did. Hillman, Einstein, these old physicists connected those. Classical science doesn't do that. They have to stay within the parameters. Their discipline has trained them to be that way, which is not wrong. It's just not complete, in my opinion. Over eons of time, history has been lost or changed. What was once known as truth has become myth. Many a myth has been proven as truth. I believe there's a core truth of Greek mythology and to ancient texts. So we need to consider that. Native Americans say they live in two worlds. Well, what does that mean, they live in two worlds? It says there's spirit beings who can disappear. Is that even possible? To get into quantum physics and know the frequency of our light range, the only thing we can see in because of light, there's other dimensions going on. We live in three, there's four counting time and light, but there's supposedly 11 mathematically, and they have not been disproven. And that's how you disprove a theory in quantum, is by mathematically disproving. It's accepted worldwide by physicists. So, is there a core truth to this? Is there a core truth to this? Ancient texts, biblical, Greek mythology, devil gods. You guys do recognize that picture, right? Yeah, I like to say I took that, but I didn't. I don't know if I'd even want to be there. Is there core truth? How about this? A government conspiracy. A lot of people have that going on. Could the government know about this? I believe they do. Are they doing something with it? I don't know, but I've had a couple geneticists under the table, can't talk about it, but they worked for the government doing DNA manipulation of primates. So actually, I think Hitler was working on a super warrior back in World War II. So it's nothing new, trying to create something that will overcome the enemy. Any truth to that? Yeah, I think so. Here's a good one. Could Bigfoot be a remnant of such alien intervention? And aliens are being accepted nowadays, unlike 10 years ago when they laughed you out of the room. Of course, they used to laugh you out of the room with Bigfoot too, but anyway, since the pilots, Air Force pilots are coming forth with their information, their filming of these UFOs, that was just on Fox News a couple nights ago. Anybody see that? Does anybody else watch Fox News? I'm allowed to sometimes. Anyway, is there any truth to that? A lot of people say they're kidnapped. Okay, I'm going to wrap it up. My perspective is this. I shortened this down a little bit, but I believe beings from the cosmos have been on this planet and are most likely here now. They're being seen now. I believe them to be a hybrid, part human. That's mitochondrial DNA only. And by the way, up above Bhutan and Nepal, the Himalayas, just recently, National Geographic did a full-blown study up into the high mountains there, 17,000 feet. They got the environmental DNA out of a pond and also some prints. And the mitochondrial DNA came out like 99% human after a 2-year study. That was in 2014. So that's kind of interesting, I think, because that's not just one. However, when I read her report, her official report, that part was taken out. I wonder how that happens. It's been written that these beings crossbred with humans and created giants. Over eons, Sasquatch may have been diluted from crossbreeding, making them more human-like. Some are more human-like than others. I don't know what we were dealing with up there that made these sounds, but they have big footprints, they have vocalizations, they're huge. The largest track we found up there was 26 inches and had a 13-foot between them, so you can do the math on that one. That's big, whatever it was. Alien manipulation of DNA into primates gave them advanced attributes. And when I say that, because there's so many mysteries surrounding these things. I mean, the people say, I believe these people, some of them are very credible. I've interviewed highway patrolmen, I've interviewed forestry workers. When these people say they saw it just evaporate or disappear, you wonder, I used to just write them off when I started hearing that, but then I realized there is rules in quantum field that could allow for that because it goes out of our perception. How does energy work? How does vibration work? Get into that stuff and you realize what's really going on around you. A lot of things we don't see. Some may want to help humans, others may want to harm. Depends on, they're not all the same. Some are bad and some are good. Depends on what the nuclear DNA is, which is the male counterpart. At the most minute level of matter, everything is energy vibrating at different frequencies. Find that frequency and change matter. That's a pretty cool thing to say right there. Because everything can alter if you can find its frequency. So what now if you think there's a hairy hominid around? What do you do? I got some do's and don'ts that has worked for me over the years, and it's in my second book, I think it is, Quantum Bigfoot. That's me and my trusty mule up on top of the mountain up there at the Sierra Camp, close to it anyway. And that's the kind of terrain you got up there. It's not very, it's very imposing to get there, let's put it that way. I've had a few broken ribs coming off the cliffs with my horse and mule, so things like that happen. Use classical science first to try and understand unusual events. If something's unusual, don't assume just because you don't know what it is that it's a Bigfoot. You got to know, got to rule everything else out. Unless you see a track or had a sighting or something like that, you don't know if that scream or howl was really a Bigfoot. Don't be limited by predetermined ideas. A lot of us have those. Consider inside and outside our three-dimensional parameters. Relax and allow their terms, their time. We found you can't make it happen. When we're up there, you just got to wait, do what you're doing, and if it happens, it happens. You can't make it happen. At least we could never make it happen. We tried to play the sounds. I don't suggest blasting these sounds that I've recorded out here. A lot of people buy them thinking we're going to go out and blast them. They might get some attention, but we don't know what they're saying. We just know the sounds have been transcribed as a language, which I told you what language was earlier. But you still don't know what the words mean until one of them comes in and points to a tree and says, ooga, ooga, that's a tree. You don't know that ooga, ooga means a tree. So I don't know what they were saying or what they were trying to ask me that night. I haven't got that on my first CD out there, but a lot of interaction, and that was extremely exciting. Above all, keep an open mind. I've said that. But not so open that your brains fall out. That thing was slapping as either as, I don't know, we didn't see that happening. That's my book. It's available, Quantum Bigfoot. And it gets into all these reconnecting science and spirituality, quantum entanglement. A lot of people say that it's talking to them in the brain. They just hear something going on. How that happens, there is a way that happens. And it's intuitiveness. These things are very intuitive. It gets into all these different things. Pineal gland, anyway, it brings science and spirituality together because they're on the same plane as far as I'm concerned. Quantum science is. That's my second book, my first book. That's my first book. It comes with a CD, and as you get to the context of sounds, you can play the sound. And I have sold under 1 million copies. That's my address. I'm easy to find. I also have these 2 CDs that I produced, and they're available out there too. These are the first one I produced is Alberry's story, the investigative report that we took in. It's got the very aggressive sounds on it. The second one is I narrated, and it's my story. They're both about 40 minutes long. They got integrated sounds that we recorded in them, and anyway, the second one's got more of the whoops, the knocks, and the communicative type things that I went through up there. So anyway, that's my program. Any questions? Oh, right back there, yes.
So you went up annually, or?
Yes.
And how long did you stay?
Well, sometimes we stay a week, sometimes we stay just 2 or 3 days. Usually no less than 3 as a rule. And I was up there this last summer. So I try to get up there almost every year. But the thing is, the whole thing burned after I left last year. California's on fire, so I'm not real sure what it did to the camp area. But hopefully we'll get up there this year and see what it's like. But California had 17 wildfires. It was so smoky when we were up there this last year. Didn't see a bear, didn't see a deer, didn't see anything. and it was just hard to even breathe. I went up there with a filming crew. First time I've ever taken a filming crew up there because I wanted to document the place. It's really quite interesting, that whole area. So that'll be out probably this year later on. Yes, over here.
Were the horses and mules spooked?
No, they were. When a bear would come around, they would just paw and all that. But no, these things, it was like they were paralyzed. They're just frozen. They're looking, have their ears up towards the sound. Yeah, I'm doing it. Can you quit now, or? I am. Any other questions? Back here.
Yes, were there smells?
No, I had a smell one time, but that was when we had to shoot the bear.
It didn't sound like you had any sense of fear in yourself.
We did it.
We'll get a sense of fear in there or some other kind of animal.
Well, fear is usually brought about as a human attribute because of the unknown. You can't help it. A little bit concerned when those big sounds are right outside there. We had guns. We had them ready to go if they came in after us, but they didn't come in after us, and we didn't shoot our way out. So it was.
I think that's going to have to be all our questions.
Who?
I just wanted to ask if you were going to go with you.
I don't know if I will. I think the cryptolingus might be trying to go up there again with his son. They're talking about it when I just see him here a couple weeks ago. He's in Missouri, but he loves it up there. It's quite a hike to get in there, but he'll walk. And okay. Thank you.
Wow. I hope you enjoyed that special with Ron Morehead tonight. Tonight on 13 o'clock live. And I want to welcome in Jessica from the Cryptid Huntress for coming into the show tonight. Hey, it's special to have you here. I'm a big fan of the Cryptid Huntress. You'll find her link in the chat. Be sure to check her out. I love her show. She's a remote viewer, and if you don't know nothing about remote viewing, you don't know what you're missing. She has the power to see right inside your soul. Hey, there's only one thing to do now. Normally I'd play a couple of songs or something, but it's been a rough day on Daily Dan. You wouldn't believe what I've been through today. I'm trying to kick back. I'm trying to relax. And I guess I'm going to have to pull up one of them really cool videos for my guy, my storyteller here on 13 o'clock live, Bigfoot Michigan Rob. I got a few more things I want to get to for tonight's over, so I got to get things moving. And this is behind the mystery of the Bigfoot body cast from Bigfoot Michigan Rob. He come out with a great video today that I'd love to show, but I make it a point not to show his new stuff. So you're going to have to wait a couple of weeks to see the one that come out today unless you want to go over to his channel and check it out. And I'll be sure I drop his channel in the chat. So be sure to check out my storyteller over here. My guy, BMR, Bigfoot, Michigan Rob.
Hello everybody, it's me, Bigfoot, Michigan Rob, also known as BMR. It's Friday, it's July 7th. Typically, I do the subscriber encounter story or email encounter story. But, there's a lot of times, too, as you guys know, I'll come across some information that I like to present to you guys. And I find this to be fascinating. There's a couple things I find fascinating about this. One, this is a report that I found on Bigfoot Live. Not a lot of information there, but this article is over 20 years old. And at the end of this, I'm going to pose everybody a question, especially if you are Bigfoot enthusiasts or researchers, or if you are experiencers. There's something a little unusual I found about this, and I will pose that question at the end of the video. This is not a very long narrative, but it's something I want everybody to listen, think about, because the question, I'd like everyone to leave a comment. Secondly, thank you to everybody for subscribing to Bigfoot Michigan Rob on YouTube. I appreciate each and every single one of you. You're the reason why I do this. I love doing this, and I love presenting everything to you. Thank you for that. Don't forget, on Tuesday nights at 9 o'clock in the East on my channel is Beyond BMR. Thursdays at 1 o'clock in the East, BMR and Krista with brunch with Bigfoot and Michigan Rob. And yes, don't forget, the Super Thanks is open if you care to donate and help support the channel. I appreciate that. Again, this is over 20 years old, and there are some prominent people, researchers, professors in here that you're all familiar with. Some you might like better than others, but hey, that's your prerogative, that's your opinion. I'm going to go on with this, and again, please leave me your thoughts at the end of the video. Idaho State University researcher coordinates analysis of body imprint that may belong to a Sasquatch. This is in Pocatello, and you know where that is as the home of Dr. Jeff Meldrum. He's the Associate Professor of Anatomy and Anthropology at Idaho State University. He's a member of a scientific team examining, this is 23 years ago, examining a plaster cast of what may be the first documented body imprint of a Sasquatch. The imprint of what appears to be a large animal's left forearm, hip, thigh, and heel was discovered September 22nd in a muddy wallow near Adams in southern Washington State by a Bigfoot Research Organization team member. This is in Gifford-Pinchot National Forest. Again, September 22nd, some 23 years ago. The investigating team, including Meldrum, Dr. Grover Krantz, very well known, retired physical anthropologist from Washington State, Dr. John Bindernagel, another very prominent researcher, Canadian wildlife biologist John Green. Again, these are big shooters, you guys, big hitters. Retired Canadian journalist and author Dr. Ron Brown, exotic animal handler and health care administrator. They all examined the cast and agreed that it cannot be attributed to any commonly known Northwest animal and may represent an unknown primate. Meldrum, whose research includes comparative primate anatomy and the emergence of human walking, supervised careful cleaning of the cast and will coordinate its analysis by a scientific team. He first became actively interested in the question of the existence of a North American primate after examining fresh Sasquatch, properly called Bigfoot tracks, in 1996. While not definitively proving the existence of a species of North American hominid, the cast constitutes significant and compelling new evidence that will hopefully stimulate further serious research and investigation into the presence of these primates in the Northwest Mountains and elsewhere, says Meldrum. Again, I find it so interesting to read this, being 20 plus years old. I find the writing fascinating comparatively speaking to today in 2023. Dr. Leroy Fish, a retired wildlife ecologist, I can't read today, from Triangles Lake, or with a doctorate in zoology from Washington State University. Derek Randalls, a landscape architect from Belfair, Washington, and Richard Knoll, a tooling meteorologist from Edmonds, Washington, discovered the cast and the partial body imprint during the expedition. More than 200 pounds of plaster were needed to produce the 3.5 by 5 foot cast of the entire impression, which was reinforced with researchers. They used aluminum tent poles. Other Sasquatch evidence documented in the expedition includes voice recordings and indistinct 17-inch footprints. Trace evidence attributed to Sasquatch is usually footprints, but impressions of other body parts, including hands, knuckles, and buttocks, have occasionally been found, never reported. This unique instance of a partial body impression provides further insights about the elusive creature and his anatomy. Preliminary measurements indicate its body dimensions are 40 to 50% greater than that of a 6-foot tall human being. After the cast was cleaned, extensive impressions of hair in the buttock and thigh surfaces and a fringe of longer hair along the forearm were even more evident. Meldrum identified what appeared to be skin ridge patterns on the heel, comparable to fingerprints that are characteristics of primates. The ridge characteristics are consistent with other examples from Sasquatch. Those same footprints that Meldrum has studied in collaboration with Officer Jimmy Chilcutt, a latent fingerprint examiner with the Conroe, Texas Police Department. The anatomy of the heel, ankle, and Achilles tendon are also distinct and consistent with models of the Sasquatch foot derived by Meldrum after examining hundreds of alleged Sasquatch footprints. Hair samples collected at the scene and from the cast itself and examined by Dr. Henner Fahrenbach, a biomedical research scientist from Beaverton, Oregon, were primarily of deer, elk, coyote, and bear, as was expected since tracks in the wallow were mostly of these animals. However, based on characteristics matching those of otherwise intermediate primate hairs in collection in association with other Sasquatch sightings, he identified a single, distinctly primate hair known in his mind to be that of Sasquatch. Goes on to say that Sasquatch is a species of North American ape suspected to inhabit the mountainous forests of the Northwest. Its existence remains controversial despite numerous eyewitness sightings and the discovery of enormous footprints. Now, first of all, you guys got to remember this is 20 years ago. I'm not a fan of using ape. I don't associate ape with Bigfoot, one. Most of you already know that. And a couple of these things to me are dated. But here's the question I pose that I find to be very fascinating about this. First of all, after I read this article, I tried to find a photo of this casting, right? Certainly we can find footprints all over the internet, but how come, and why is it so hard for me to find an impression or the picture of the impression on the web? I'm sure it's out there, but why is it so hard to find? Do they, and when I say they, ABC people, the government, do they not want this to be something active on the internet? You got to remember, this was 20 years old. Why is this not something that's on the internet? How come I haven't seen it? I've been doing this for 5 years. A lot of you listening right now have been studying this for longer than 5 years. I find it odd. I'm sure this picture's got to be out there. Why is it so difficult to find? If you can find it, please leave it in a comment. What do you think? Why do you think? First of all, do you believe the casting even exists? I happen to think it does. A lot of prominent people I rattle off there. A lot of great researchers. Some I like more than others. But how come this is so hard to find? I'd love to see this. If you guys have found this and know about this and say, hey, Rob, man, you're out to lunch, it's all over the internet. Well, I haven't found it. I don't know why that is. I hope you enjoyed that. Next week, I'm going to be coming back with another encounter story from a subscriber. But every once in a while, I like to drop something that I find to be interesting, that I think that you guys would find interesting. Let me know if you like this. It's Friday, July 7th. You guys have a great weekend. I'm going to have a great weekend. And until next time, I am Bigfoot Michigan Rob. Please subscribe if not already. The Super Thanks is available. You have a great weekend. Until next time, BMR, and I'm out.
BMR is out. I love the stories from Bigfoot Michigan Rob. You can find his link in the description. Be sure to check out my friend, Bigfoot Michigan Rob. And I want to thank my friend Jessica Jones for joining us in the chat tonight. Hey, Jessica, I do love you, girl. I love her show. Yeah, you can find her on Spaced Out Radio and on her channel, The Cryptid Huntress, and you can find them links in the chat. Be sure to check her out. Oh my God. You get to that point where you just need to chill out for a minute. It's been deep. I played the lecture by Ron Morehead, and that was so deep, and it was so integral, and it was so scientific. That was the first time I'd seen it. I watched it with you guys. It was amazing. Hey, so I guess we're going to listen to a tune now. So sit back, relax, fire up a bowl, and let's just listen to a Bigfoot song real quick, and then I'll put something else real cool on for you guys.
Hey everybody, got a new song for you called I Know There's Bigfoot in Ohio.
This is for my friend, Jacob in Ohio. Hey, Iron Daughter, what's up? You should have caught the lecture by Ron
You're in the
Morehouse.
heartland, neath the rivers and the streams, where the forests turn around, the farmland steams, Ohio River flowing from the Appalachians to the sea.
Now you got here for the best part.
I see Bigfoot are what they see. I hear the woodknock saying, "Don't come here." I see the footprints showing in the mud so clear. From Coshocton County and everywhere I go, I know there's Bigfoot in Ohio. Mohican River flows slow and lazy. Sightings and strange screams driving locals crazy. They've seen them crossing roads into the knobby woods. Sightings in the dark in Minerva's neighborhood. I hear the woodknock saying, "Don't come here." I see the footprints showing in the mud so clear.
As long as I got vodka, I always have fun.
County, and everywhere I go, I know there's Bigfoot in Ohio. Oh yeah. South of Columbus, in the Hocking Hills they roam. East of Canton, Beaver Creek, State Park's their home. Wherever forest grows and water's running free, they're in those deep ravines, that's where they'll be. I hear the woodknock saying, "Don't come near." I see the footprints showing in the mud so clear. From Ashland County and everywhere I go, I know there's Bigfoot in Ohio. Yeah, I hear the woodknock saying, "I know you're here." I see those footprints walking in the mud so clear. From Salt Fork State Park and everywhere I go, I know there's Bigfoot in Ohio. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.
You know, I think that might have just killed the ratings. I think I went down four viewers when that song was on. If you didn't like that song, be sure to let me know in the comments below, and I'll never play that mother again. Oh my God, that was terrible. I don't know. I kind of like that song. What do y'all think? Let me know in the comments below. Let's see if I can find one a little bit better. Now, this is one of my favorites that goes back a long time. It's by Mel Blanc, and I hope you really enjoy this one. This is like the super cool Bigfoot tune.
was going on with a few giant steps? The monster was gone. Now I'm not the type to leave someone scared. But let me tell you, it's out there somewhere.
How'd you like that song, guys? Hey, I was talking to Iron Dogger in the comment section of this live stream, and I was telling her, I used to DJ for a blues radio station back in the day, and everybody accused me of being black. And I would do something like this. Let me see if I can get the old voice back real quick. Okay, here goes. Oh! Greetings, guys and gals. This is the Wolfman Dan on Late Night Radio. I'm playing the bluesiest tunes you ever heard right here on KWRXX Radio here in South Carolina. I want everybody to be sure to like and subscribe and sit back and relax and enjoy this Bigfoot tune. Yeah, baby. Yeah. Rocking out the tunes here on 13 o'clock live. You can only rock out so many tunes on a live stream. I hope y'all enjoy it when I rock out the Bigfoot tunes, but now I've got to go through my little list and pick out something different, something totally different, something that I know my friend Eric, who just showed up in the chat, and here's a special one for my friend Eric over at Paranormal Highway. It's good to see you in chat. Hey, Eric, guess what? Jessica, the Cryptid Huntress, showed up in the chat tonight. It made me feel really special. And now I'm going to play a little bit of a live stream from my friend Eric over at Paranormal Highway And congratulations, Eric. You have a lot of good sponsors.
I don't know. Just went completely.
You know what really impressed me is Eric always has me on the paranormal highway, so you know,
Downstairs?
we're gonna sit back and we're gonna check out a clip from Paranormal Highway for the next few minutes, and I hope y'all enjoy
The
this.
thing is,
Because he's got a
another
special
computer.
guest.
This is more of a desktop. This is an older computer. I have problems with this computer doing live YouTube shows. If I have too many tabs, it'll crash. My programs to take videos, rip them, get them ready, is all on the other computer. And this one, if I have videos anyway, it like overloads this computer and it shuts it down. So, to be fair to the Kraken and Loch Ness, because I like to show videos explaining the history, and then we talk about it, I moved it to next week. But today,
I'm gonna be talking about the Kraken
we got Danny Static. We're going to talk about the Bigfoots
next
in South
week.
Carolina. You know, what's the story out there? You know, we're going to have some fun where I don't have to show videos. I don't have to have 20,000 tabs, where hopefully I don't crash. That's what's going on, and I apologize.
You
But
apologize too much,
I did
Eric.
take it to the shop last night. I took it to the Apple store, and they told me maybe get lucky, I'll probably have it back by Saturday. You know, only sucks is apparently this is the weekend that they're releasing the new iPhone. So they told me that when you come down to the Apple store, you're probably going to be with 1,000 people trying to get the new phones. Like, great, you know. So somebody got their revenge. They got their revenge on me somehow. They screwed up my computer from A to B. But that's life, right? We don't give a shit. We still move on, right? The show still must go on. We got Danny Staten in the background ready to talk about the Bigfoot in South Carolina. So after the intro, get your coffee, go to the bathroom, say Bloody Mary 3 times. Whatever you
Bloody
gotta do.
Mary!
We're
Bloody
ready
Mary!
to take
Bloody
a
Mary!
ride on the Paranormal Highway.
I think I would have to say white wrestling 3 times. White wrestling, white wrestling, white wrestling. The Cracker, this Tuesday coming. Can't wait for that one. I studied up on that damn thing. You know, that's one of the best intros on YouTube. It really is, Eric. You did great on that. Yeah, Jessica honored me with being in my chat earlier.
You know,
Greetings from South Carolina.
looks like the aliens, they're attacking me in certain ways. They unsubbed JoJo from my channel. See, they're getting their revenge on me. But, oh, Danny, I gotta tell you this. This is funny. This is funny. Because, like I said, I had to make last minute changes to the show that could work with this computer. So I get this email late last night from Unimix. I'm reading it. Unimix 121. Who the fuck is Unimix 121? I don't know. I love getting these emails sometimes, right? And these emails like, Eric, you are a piece of shit. You should crash yourself on the Paranormal Highway because there are Bigfoots in South Carolina. How stupid are you? You think you're a Bigfoot investigator? And you're asking the question if there's Bigfoot in South Carolina?
Yeah, that is an offensive question. Of course there's a Bigfoot in South Carolina.
But hold on. So you should put your head in the fucking sand and never show your face again. You're a disgrace to the community. You're a disgrace to everybody. All right. Now, if Unisix 121 is watching, the reason I title that
is because my guest, Danny Stanton, is from South Carolina, and it was more of a metaphor to learn about some of the sightings or some of the things that Danny have seen. Now, if Danny wasn't from South Carolina, it probably would have been titled, "Is There Bigfoot in South Carolina?" So but then sometimes when you get those emails, right, you just sit there like, are people that stupid?
Yeah, they are. And by the way, that email's tame. Do y'all see some of the ones I get? Especially when I insult somebody, because I'm really bad about, I got Tourette's, and you just don't really never know what's going to come out my mouth. Really, when you have me on the show, you're playing right. Roll the dice. I'm like worse than Dr. Wu, because I may be okay for half the show, then all of a sudden, then I go off on a rant on Democrats or something, and then there it goes. So you just don't never know what's going to come out the mouth. Yeah.
Hey, that's why we're here, right? That's why we're here. Oh, I have a link up for Friday. The Cryptid Huntress is going to be joining the channel on Friday with Dr. Wu because they have some not weird, but they got some time travel stuff that they wanted to bring out. So Friday we got the Cryptid Huntress, Jessica Jones, Dr. Wu together for the first time ever, and we're going to be talking about some time traveling stuff with the mind. Ship, doesn't matter. So Friday is going to be another kick-ass show. So South Carolina, I do got some tabs up, and I want to make sure that everything we know about South Carolina, since you live there, is when I look here, I guess South Carolina is basically by the ocean, next to the Florida area, if you see down here to the right, and the population for according to 2020, now of course it's 2023, you guys have about 5,124,000. So I'm guessing now you probably got, 5,500,000. I'm sure South Carolina is growing.
South Carolina's the number 3 state in the United States for growth. More people are moving here than anywhere else. There's only 2 states ahead of us. And that's because it's so much better here than everywhere else. But
let me ask you, because I've never been to South Carolina. I have actually never been that lower part of the United States. I've been cross country, mostly in the middle and the upper part of the United States. I have driven from Washington to New York, from New York to California, California to Maryland, Maryland to Washington, but I've never been to that part of the United States. So basically, what's the number, like, in the world of cryptids, like, I know a lot of states have their signature cryptid, paranormal kind of a thing. Washington, where I live, the Sasquatch or the Mary Island incident. Is there like a cryptid, something that South Carolina puts their hat on?
well, actually there is, but it's not my favorite of the cryptids. But I have investigated it once or twice, and there's reports of the famous lizard man from Bishopville. If you look at that little picture of South Carolina down there on the screen, you'll see really close to the ocean, that's the coast, and right off that coast, near the Georgia line's a little place called Bishopville, and that's where the reports of the famous lizard man comes from here in South Carolina. And I'm sure everybody's familiar with those stories. I think you covered it once, Eric.
Oh yeah, there was a time that I was trying to cover every single different cryptid that there was, and because every state has like their own cryptids. Now because like Florida is famous for the skunk ape, because the smell and all that. Now South Carolina is not super far away from Florida. Is there a bleed over of your opinion that some of the smell of skunk ape is also in South Carolina?
Well, I wouldn't call it a skunk ape in South Carolina. We would probably call it a Bigfoot up here. But basically the same creature. And there's no doubt in my mind that they travel up and down this whole region. Because I've had reports from North Carolina, Virginia, Tennessee. I've had reports from Georgia, Alabama, and Florida. I actually get reports as far out as Texas and Oklahoma sometimes.
and had a couple of guys call me from up in your neck of the woods in Washington and send me some pictures in a big envelope that they actually got off some of their trail cams from up there. I made a video about it. It's up on the blog, I'm pretty sure.
Because sometimes I'm actually somewhat like jealous in a way, because you're surrounded by so many states where a lot of the population of people are, and you know, you could probably visit people, or there's a lot of, you know, if you want to go to Florida, you can. Where you live, where I live in Washington, you know, all the states are bigger in a way, so you know, you got to drive all the way to Oregon, you got to drive to Idaho to get to Montana. There's not like 3-4 states right there, you know what I mean? It's like you could go so many different directions where you're at. And I guess when I was living,
I'm not really sure. When you look at the map of South Carolina and you look at the part that borders the ocean, I'm up in that corner as far away from the ocean as you can get. I'm in the mountains of South Carolina. I'm in a wood. You see, most of the dense population you get in South Carolina lies in the cities like Greenville, Anderson, and Myrtle Beach, and Charleston. And when you get to the rural parts of South Carolina, it's really scattered out and probably 75% forested areas.
I don't want the football. I don't want the football team, South Carolina, whole state. I don't want that.
Go Gamecocks. I remember the last time I saw a football game was sometime in the 80s, and they won. Not a real big football fan.
I'm trying to.
I like the professional wrestling.
Here we go. So this is okay. So right here is South Carolina, and you're more near what?
Go the other way with your little pointer up. Go up with your pointer. Okay, that's Columbia right there. Now go left. Go left, 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 left. A little bit more, and up some more. Now go up right there. Go up. Up. Right there, right down. Right there, you're pretty much close to my house.
Oh, okay. So you're in this part.
It says Greenville and Anderson.
And you got a nice, huge big river.
Greenville and Anderson. And it's
So
got
I
that
can
little,
see-
that little blue shield that says 85 or something.
And because you're near so much water,
I
I
don't
think
know
there's going to be a lot of activity in this area, because there's a lot of resources and water for a cryptid.
You see, it's funny. It's where I live. You go 20 miles north and you're in Greenville. And you go 20 miles south, you're in Anderson. And I live directly in the middle, but I live in like the most ruralest, backwards part of South Carolina.
Now, I'm going to,
Other than this little cul-de-sac area I live in here, where there's a few houses, everything else is woods and forest.
now, I'm going to show another map, and people in the chat, take this map with a grain of salt, okay? Don't, like, they're wrong. Just take this next map with a grain of salt. This is just for the show. So don't get.
Don't blame Eric. He didn't make the map. He's just showing it.
No, well, this one is number of reporting of Bigfoot sightings. Now, again, I don't know how they get a report on how many people are reporting, because I don't even, honestly, I don't even know who to call if I want to tell somebody that there's a Bigfoot sighting. But take it with a grain of salt. Looking at the map. Now it says here, now these are supposedly based on people calling. Not everybody calls. We know that. So it shows here South Carolina has about 52 calls. The average year now, guys, remember, like I said, not a lot of people call, and you also gotta realize that like the state above South Carolina might have 98, but the population of South Carolina is less. So sometimes, even though you get a less number, it's actually greater because the size and population of a state.
Yeah, I found out something that people in South Carolina, they don't really like to talk about Bigfoot. And even if they see one, they don't tell nobody. They don't want to be public about it. They might tell me, but the next words out their mouth is, don't mention my name and don't expect me to admit to it if you tell anybody. You know, that's not nothing to do with it.
And you know what's funny? Danny, I'm so glad you brought that up. Because if you talk to almost anybody who has a Bigfoot encounter, and I know in the chat I saw earlier, I saw Bigfoot Michigan Rob in here. I'm sure that Bigfoot Michigan Rob, my sighting, your sighting, we have never made a phone call. And it seems like to me,
I didn't make a phone call, but I sort of hell told everybody about it.
Encounter has never made a phone call to report it. So I can see what you're talking about, that most people who are in the mountains, who are one with the nature, they don't, if they see something, they might call their friends. You might call me, call Michigan Rob, say, hey, I just had a sighting, Connor Flynn. But we don't right off the bat thinking, oh my God, I got to call the news channel. Oh, I got to call whoever takes phone calls for a Bigfoot sighting. I know UFOs have, what do they call it? Mafia, Mopia, whatever.
MUFON, the Mutual UFO Network.
MUFON. But is there, I mean, I don't know this answer. Is there a place for Bigfoot people to call? For a certain place?
BFRO, Bigfoot Field Research Organization. They're up there with you somewhere in Washington, I think. And I've called them I've called them about 1,100 times, and I don't think any of the reports I made ever even got filed or put up on their website. I quit messing with them last year after that. I just got tired of trying to get something up and trying to let people know what's going on, and nobody cares. So.
And that's a good question too, right? Do these places, when they do care, are they looking for a certain kind of phone call from a certain kind of person? I mean, what do they consider to be more real to investigate and not? I don't know. It's like, if they don't, I never heard of Danny. I never heard of Eric. Oh, I know Danny. Eric. Those are those YouTube guys. We're not going to investigate them.
When I say call, that's just a reference I use. I did have somebody put the reports in on the internet thing and do it by email. It wasn't an actual physical phone call because you can't actually call these people. They won't answer the phone. I did it by the email thing.
Yep. And guys, you can't even really totally go by numbers too, because if you look at this map, Washington has like the most calls. My sightings that I had was never in Washington. I've never had a sighting in the state of Washington where I say that I think that was Bigfoot. Never had that. I had it in California. So even though it looks like Washington has the most calls, I've never had an encounter in Washington. But I think I saw Nikki in the chat, and she actually had an encounter by the Mount Rainier area.
That was really interesting. Her stuff. I love that show with Sasquatch Secrets.
And that's funny. And the thing is, Nikki's not from Washington. She visited. I live here. I go to these mountains.
And I told you to go to that, but you didn't go because you had doctor's appointments or something.
No, I had to go to the emergency room.
See, if you'd have went to that, you could have had an experience.
Oh God, I know life. Like,
now, let me point out something, and this just specifies my fact. When I say Bigfoot could be anywhere, look at that map. How many places do you see where there's not a Bigfoot sign?
Every place, even Hawaii, has numbers, and Nevada says 9, but people gotta understand. In Nevada,
I don't see nothing in Hawaii. That big old thing at the bottom's Alaska. That big blue one with the 22 is Alaska. That little thing beside it's Hawaii, and Hawaii don't seem to have no number. I don't see one.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
I know my
yeah,
map.
you're right. Hawaii. Well,
North Carolina.
Well, it is blue, so maybe they had the least sighting. But, a lot of people in Hawaii are true to the culture, and they're not going to fucking call.
Well, anyway, I'm not sure Bigfoot goes to Hawaii. Bigfoot don't have a surfboard. But if you look at Alaska, there's 22 signs listed in Alaska, and I know there's a lot more. And you talk to somebody like my friend Iron Dogger, and she's always talking about the missing in Alaska cases and the Alaska Bigfoot things, Port Lock, Alaska. Alaska's a lot more popular for Bigfoot than South Carolina.
Now, Now see,
Alaska's all over TV, all over the Travel Channel for Bigfoot stuff, but South Carolina isn't. But yet South Carolina has a 52 and Alaska only has a 22. So even for all their TV shows, South Carolina is more likely to see a Bigfoot than
now
Alaska.
this was exactly my point. Bigfoot, Michigan, and Rob. I never reported, mined, or called to any organization. Just spoke on it in many times, especially if anything paranormal is involved. Most BFR reports are sanitized if it does not fit their narrative, and that's perfectly said. That is perfectly said. Like I said, the 11 of us who saw our encounter, nobody in my family has ever made a phone call to a news channel, to everything. We're like, why? Why would you? Like I don't want. No, my family's like, we don't want the fucking news up here in the mountains to disrupt nature. Let them be free.
That's just it. 90% of people don't report to organizations.
I try to
look. They see it on the news.
And I try to actually. I was looking at my state too, just because they're kind of, and then it is kind of cool in a way that in the military Washington Gov, they do have in our Gov they do have Bigfoot in there. They talk about the legend of the Bigfoot. They talk about up here where the name Sasquatch, the common name Sasquatch, comes from the solid Sasquatch Wild, the only north central region of container. It kind of talks about where the name Sasquatch came from. It's kind of cool that I always said, Washington does recognize the Bigfoot and Sasquatch, which technically it is considered manslaughter if you kill Bigfoot up here. It is considered, so that's kind of cool. But I was trying to look up South Carolina, and there was one story that has happened in South Carolina with the Bigfoot sighting. I thought I'll just show it, and maybe you know something about it. Let's see here. Let me share the screen. Hold on a second. Let me get this computer. I have to get rid of tabs, or we're going to freeze up.
Hey, Judy, be sure to drop some links in the chat, Judy. You're young link master.
All right. Now, it says here, one of the only stories you can find in South Carolina, Bigfoot sighting reported at South Carolina State Park. And, of course, it says here that in Beaufort County, 3 visitors to State Park in South Carolina claimed they saw an animal they believe could be Bigfoot. The 3 people visited Hunting Island State Park on August 3rd and reported seeing an animal that was, now, in their eyes, it was 5'6". First of all, I wanted to ask you now on their side, they think it was 5'6". Now, I know that when you see something, sometimes it is hard to know how tall it are, but everything you learn from stories in South Carolina on the Bigfoot, is that about the right height on average for a Bigfoot?
The Bigfoot, when I had my encounter back in 1976, what I saw was a good 8 or 9 foot tall, maybe 8.5, 9 foot tall. And when I had another encounter about 2 years ago, it was pretty close to maybe 7, maybe smaller, but looked hungrier. But it wasn't as tall as the first one I'd seen. But lately, I'd been hearing something in the forest near my house, and I'd made a few videos with sounds. And when I went out the next day to investigate the area where I'd heard the weird sounds the night before, the footprint I found was smaller than mine. It was like a size 9, but it was very deep. Whatever made it weigh about 300 pounds. So I'm under the impression that they could be juveniles, like younger. Like every family has a unit. There's me. In my family, there was brothers and sisters and a mother and a father, and they all were different ages as we grew. And Bigfoots are probably the same way. They probably have a family unit. There's a mother, a father, and children. And the children ages could vary from anything to anything. And a juvenile, who knows how a young Bigfoot is only 5 or 6 feet tall when it's young.
I mean, you're right. I mean, first of all, like I said, when these people saw this thing, depending on the distance, you cannot, you're not always 100% sure to hide, or like you said, these could be more juveniles in the first place. So they're saying it was walking upright, retreating the woods from the roadway. Then they say the people were unable to take a photo quickly enough, but reported the sighting to the park staff and the Bigfoot Field Researcher Organization. And that's a good. They said something very cool there that doesn't prove Bigfoot's real or not, but that not everybody. I know we all have phones, camera phones, but it's not like if you're walking the woods in nature, you automatically have it out and you're ready. Sometimes you see something so quickly as you see this thing, it's gone before you can even get your phone out.
It happens to me so much you would not believe it. If I could catch 90% of the stuff that happens and actually catch it on video, boy, I'd have a real popular channel. But I'm always a little bit late 90% of the time.
And I don't think a lot of people realize, too, when you see something for the first time that you've never seen something before, something that, if you've never seen Bigfoot before, I can see where a Bigfoot could be scary, right? It's very scary looking, 6 foot, 8 foot, big hairy thing. And sometimes, you know this, Dan, if you see something so scary, you freeze. It's like you can't move. Sometimes, depending on the person, they don't move until 5 seconds or 8 seconds because they're seeing something so scared that their body kind of like shuts down before they can get anything. Now, everybody's different. Everybody's different. I get that.
I guess I'm luckier than most people because I've been a paranormal investigator almost my entire life. My mom took me on ghost investigations when I was 7 and 8 years old, looking for spooks and haunted houses and cemeteries in the middle of the night.
See, Dan, but Danny,
that's a high threshold for not being.
See, the average person is not like us. The average person didn't grow up going into the woods and having parents that tell you about the Bigfoots or paranormal research, and most people who see sightings have gone to the mountains for the first time. They're not even used to that kind of environment as we are. You know what I mean? So
I grew up in
one of
a
the lucky ones, I guess, in a way that we have family like that.
A unique environment, not like most people would grow up. My mom was very much into paranormal investigations. My mom was a photographer for magazines, so she was always out doing photo shoots with stars and stuff. And a lot of the times, she would go on shoot pictures for paranormal investigators. She actually worked with Ed and Lorraine Warren a couple of times and shot pictures for them. I got to meet them when I was like 10.
Oh wow, that is awesome.
Like I said, I'm from a unique background.
And then I'm sure at 10 years old, at that time, you're not realizing how Ed and Lorraine Warren kind of, changed how paranormal investigation is going forward. But I bet now you're like, wow, I actually met them, yeah.
Yeah, well, now that I'm older, I wished I'd actually asked questions and been more engaging. But at the time, I was a child, and seeing life through a child's eyes, you just want it to be over with. So you can go to McDonald's or something.
So let's, I'm going to pull up the Danny Stanton channel.
I'm going to pull up the Daily Dan blog. Because the Danny Stanton channel is just a channel I used for a mod channel. And there's a few things on it, but most of my stuff goes on the Daily Dan blog. And
Okay.
Judy, drop that link for the Daily Dan blog when I say that. See, that's how that works.
Guys, I got.
By the way, guys, if I seem a little down or not quite myself today, I almost died yesterday. I went to I'm supposed to be in the hospital under observation right now, but I told them at the doctor's office, you're not sending me to the hospital because I got to be on Paranormal Highway tomorrow, and I'm not missing that.
Hold on. Are you shitting me? Are you supposed to be in a medical place right now, but you
in the hospital under observation because I have blood poisoning and a high level of tetanus in my blood. If you see, you was just on the Danny Stanton channel, I got pictures of me in the doctor's office and everything, and made videos while I was there being told they're trying to keep me, trying to send me from the doctor's office to the hospital because I have a real high tetanus infection. But
and somebody,
and I got the shots, and I know how to monitor myself.
wow, I don't know to say I'm honored or are saying you're dumb for not going.
Look how pale I look. Have you noticed how pale I look? Like a ghost. It's all that medication they got me on for the blood poison. I just now realized how pale I look, like a Halloween zombie or something. So,
I'm feeling much better now.
It's cool to have you on this one day, but I don't want, because you're on just for this one time, if something worse happens to you. I'd rather have you on more times. I mean, I'm honored, but man,
I wasn't going to the hospital.
Everybody check. Make sure if you got Danny on your dial, you call him an hour after the show to make sure nothing's happened to Danny. And if we don't hear nothing from Danny after the show, we all better call the ambulance to him.
I'm from that tough guy. I'm from that tough guy era. Everybody around here, we grew up like Rambo. One time, funny story. One time when I was very young, I got shot in the leg. I'm not going to go into the details of it. I'll tell you behind the scenes what happened. But anyway, I got shot in the leg, and I didn't want to go to the hospital because I figured they might call the police, and I'd have to explain how I got shot in the leg. So I'm the tough guy that took a knife, dug the bullet out my shin, took a needle and thread, soaked myself up, poured alcohol over it, and went on about my business. That's just rough.
You're kind of right. I guess we kind of come from that family, because I remember my brother goes, Eric, when you got hit by that car, when you flew in the air, flew on the road, rolled down the road, they should have taken you to the hospital to get you checked up because they hit you hard.
Yeah, that might have been a good idea.
We never went to the hospital. It's like, I guess it's like, if you really feel like we need to, we can, but but okay, I got the Daily Dan here. This is the Daily Dan here.
And that's my appearance on Paranormal Highway. If you want to see the whole show, you'll have to click the link and look it up. And check out my whole appearance on Paranormal Highway. Well, it's winding down to the end of the night, and my little camera over here that I do the 13 o'clock live stream on, guess what? That bad boy is flashing. Power running out. 11%. So that means it's about time for me to wind things down here on 13 o'clock live. Play my finishing song and get us out of here before the camera dies. I appreciate everybody for joining me, Iron Dogger.
Down in South Carolina,
Paranormal Highway.
there's a big old critter that likes
Freaky
to
Geek.
wander around
My
the
flock is everywhere finally shows up at the end of the fucking show.
Well, it ain't no beaver, bobcat, or bear, 'cause he's 8 foot tall and covered in hair. And the first time I seen him, he give me quite a fright. Well, he eats from my garden and peas in my grass, and he stings like a skunk mixed with grizzly bear ass. And he's
Right at the end of the show.
Come around. Well, he spends his time peeking around trees, and he thinks what he wants, and he does what he pleases, like scratching his butt and making a grunting sound.
But I appreciate everybody for coming.
Sasquatch, Sasquatch, knocking on the trees, chucking rocks and screaming like a troop of chimpanzees. Sasquatch, Sasquatch, running around my place. Are you the missing link, or are you from outer space? Now you may wonder, what does a Sasquatch do when he's wandering around at 1:45 in the middle of the night because he's feeling down? Well, he comes on over to visit my house. I think he has a little thing for my spouse, 'cause she always feels like someone is around. Well, he looks in the windows and checks out my wife. Can't say as I blame him. She looks pretty nice in a fuzzy robe as green as the foam of the sea. Well, he stands and he blinks as he ponders and thinks about humans and love, and she smiles so sweet. He wonders what the heck she sees in me. Sasquatch, Sasquatch, stop looking in my windows. I think it's kinda creepy, you voyeuristic weirdo. Sasquatch, Sasquatch, keep your big paws to yourself. And you got a lady Sasquatch to raise your Sasquatch well.